Yeah. Run it back. Nation, what is good? Sixers sickos. Absolute Sixers sickos. All right. We're sitting here on a Friday night watching another horrendous product from the NBA, which is the Detroit Pistons in any game that they play in. Absolute Sixers sickos. But we are that, and we are here. And I got my man JJ from Play by Play with JJ on the line to help me out, because I hit him up and I said, man, I'm tired of talking about the Pistons, man. I don't even know what to say. You come on the show and help me. He's like, so here we are. Shout out to everybody in the chat. This is live on YouTube. This is now live on Twitter and Instagram. That's a new one. We got 10 people over on Instagram. Shout out to Instagram. We're live on Instagram too. And this is also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify in recorded format. So shout out to everyone. However you listen, give us a like on the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. And we're going to talk about the game. What's going on, JJ? How you feeling, man?
DJ, thanks so much again for having me on here. You know, I think it's so funny because, like, I've been watching you for, like, over the last 4 years, like, ever since, like, you had the Ben Simmons jersey in, like, the old studio and stuff like that. And then, like, I mean this, like, when I say this, like, I went to school, at Rowan, and, like, I graduated, like, with a sports broadcasting degree. But I learned from you, and I learned from Bros, and I learned, like, from RB, like, that I have to have more of like a personality. And
Hey,
I've
man.
like always thought that with all your Sixers takes that you've done, especially like over like the years, I've really looked up to you, and you know, I really can't thank you enough for having me on here. Like, it still feels surreal. It really does.
I appreciate it, man. I didn't know you were watching me for that long. You came on the show the other day, and I think you're good at what you do, man. And then I checked out some of your play-by-play stuff, and I think you got your own little style going on, man. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate you helping me out too, sitting here, talking about this game against the Detroit Pistons, man. But I appreciate the kind words. Thank you for being here, and let's get into it. So the Sixers win again, which is, if anybody in the world put money on the Pistons in this game, I more power to them. Basically a sleepwalk game where you win 124-92. Joel Embiid, just the easiest 35-12 game in 3 quarters, 35-13 in 3 quarters. I think this is probably the easiest looking 35 3 quarters that I've ever seen in the history of my time watching basketball. I thought Joel Embiid was having a bit of an off night, and he scored 35 points in 3 quarters and sat the fourth. It is more about how just absolutely embarrassingly bad the Detroit Pistons actually are. But, same story. It sucks that we got to play him twice in a row, because I got to say the same thing. Joel Embiid kicked Isaiah Stewart's ass. James Wiseman came in the game. Unbelievable that he was as high of a draft pick as he was, and now he's playing the final minutes of a 40-point blowout for the Detroit Pistons. Joel kicked his ass. What are some other takes from the game off the top of my head? I didn't even know Joe Harris plays for the Pistons. And Bogdanovich had some nice plays. Bogdanovich was auditioning for his new role on the Sixers after the trade deadline. I don't know if that's an actual name, but you know what I mean. It's a Pistons blowout. The only thing I was hoping for is that we go up by 50 so I could have something interesting to say. But what's your initial takeaway, man, from what you just watched?
Well, the first thing that you said is that you felt sorry if you had somebody bet on the Pistons. There was actually somebody that came onto my stream. I kid you not. They put $5K on the Pistons. I literally kid you not. So
They said that in your stream?
Yes.
Okay, they're lying, dude. There's no way. They got to be lying. There's 5,000 on the Pistons. Who was it? Eminem?
No,
it had to be Eminem.
that was the first person that honestly came to my mind.
Only Eminem would be like, I'm so rich and I love the Detroit Pistons. Here's $5K.
Oh my gosh. No, I agree. I agree with everything you said about Joel. I thought that he had an off night, but then again, like, he's just sleepwalking out there, getting 35-point double-doubles. And Isaiah Stewart, stealing his lunch money and stuff like that. My biggest takeaways were actually a little bit more from the bench. I thought that this was a really good game from the bench tonight. Marcus Morris Sr., in my opinion, is working up his trade value. And I think that that's a really good thing for the Sixers because maybe when you're looking at getting a guy like Caruso, maybe Chicago, or maybe these teams that are going to, try to sell the market high, maybe Marcus Morris Sr. can honestly be that guy. He's been proving it like over the last 3 or 4 games, in my opinion, where he's actually shooting off the dribble and he's doing a really good job at just making shots. So if he's making shots, that's going to up his trade value, and maybe that might be a good thing for the Sixers from just that perspective. But I thought that he was great. I think he went 5 for 5 from 3, so that was awesome. I thought that it was nice to see Furkan Korkmaz out there. It was good to see Mo Bamba out there. I had no idea that Mo Bamba could actually block shots. Like, he's been doing that over like the last 2 games or so. It's interesting to me from that perspective. But I think overall, sometimes like when you go up against teams, like they shot really bad from the 3 tonight, the Sixers, especially in the first half. They were really struggling from beyond the arc, but they were just dominating in the paint. They were out rebounding the Detroit Pistons. They were literally making them look like that they were a college team out there. And I feel like that we'd be more upset if it was the other way around. Like if these games like were close, the fact that they're just taking care of business, this is the best thing that we could ask for.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we should all be happy about, is that we're not playing down to competition. We've played down to competition for a long time, a lot of years. Even Joel Embiid himself, for him to have 13 rebounds in this game means that he didn't come into this arena and say, it's the Detroit Pistons, I'm not going to try. There's a lot of games in the past couple of years where Joel would have 6 rebounds. You know what I mean? And there was no effort from the start. Even in games like this, and it's 100% coaching, it's 100% practice, it's 100% what Nick Nurse is putting in his ear. Even in games like this, he comes in right off the jump, the first 10 seconds of the game, he's putting Isaiah Stewart under the basket and getting the ball, the high-low from Nick Batum, getting fouls, he did it last game. He did it against the Wizards the other night. Even against a bad team, he's like, my goal is to come out here and put these dudes away as fast as possible. And he did it again for the second night in a row. Against the Wizards, we blew out the Wizards by 44, and he sat in the fourth quarter. He's played 21 games this season. He's sat in 8 fourth quarters, and he still somehow leads the entire NBA in points per game. It is absolutely ridiculous. Outside of the one kryptonite that we know he still has, which is Al Horford, nobody else. Who else? Nobody else. Yusuf Nurkic gives him some trouble because he's a big body and can move a little bit. But really, like, the rest of the NBA has no shot. It's almost just a shoot around. It's really just a shoot around. He's like, I'm going to do some jump shots. I'm going to drive in and do this. I'm going to do a spin around one-footed hook shot. I'm going to make some stuff up. I'm going to run the fast break, throw it behind my back out of bounds. Who cares? It is just, he is way too good for most, 99% of the NBA. He's way too good for. I'm excited for the Timberwolves game. Cat, not that Cat can guard him, but Gobert, not that he can guard him either, but he's supposed to be known as an interior defender. But yeah, I mean, he's way too good, and it's a shoot around for him. It really is.
It is. It totally is. And people, I remember like over like the last like 3-4 years or so, or maybe just throughout his entire career, so many people have been like on the bandwagon for saying that, oh, Joel gets fouled like way too much and he gets so many calls his way. I mean, like, you're watching this game tonight, the Pistons like not just like are small like in size or sorry, like small in height, but like small in size too. And when Embiid's just like getting his way, and when he's going down low and he's drawing up fouls, like that's all you pretty much like can do. Like, it's so easy to just foul him. And that's just a credit to Joel. And it's also a credit to Drew Hanlon too, who's been really helping them with his shooting and, has been working on that over the years. I find like what's really impressive about Embiid, and nobody's really talking about this, is that he's having the best foul shooting percentage of his entire career. Like this season, he's shooting 89%. And that sort of kind of went under the radar, I guess, of his game, even though he's drawing a lot of fouls. How many centers, though, can be shooting at a high rate like he does. It's so rare, and I think that we as Sixers fans, we take that for granted. And
Mhm.
like we're watching that tonight, and again, like that's all he had to do. Literally tonight's game plan, in my opinion, was just okay. Like give the ball to Joel, but also like let's try to like establish the ball movement a little bit early on. Tyrese Maxey's continuing to struggle shooting wise. I hope he gets out of his funk, but when Maxey is not having the best shooting night, Embiid's going to have to, try to go off a little bit more, and you're going to have to rely a lot on the bench. And tonight, thankfully, the bench did step up, but Embiid, even though he didn't have a good game by his standards, he did what he had to do.
Yeah, the free throws, that's the wild part about it, really, is that he's such a good free throw shooter because there's probably not another center that was known for being physical that was a good free throw shooter in the history of the game. I mean, name one. Like the only real shooting 7-footers people can throw out there is Dirk Nowitzki, and there's some shooting 7-footers, but guys that are known for their physicality under the rim that are really good free throw shooters, I don't know one. I don't think there's been one. And that's another element that makes him so unstoppable because, you can't do anything. And with Shaq, you could just grab him, and Shaq can't shoot free throws. With Dwight Howard in his prime, with most centers that were known for being physical, you could just foul him and send him to the line. He's going to shoot 60%. Joel's at 86, 87% free throw shooter, and it just adds another element because you resort to fouling him, but he's going to make the shots anyway. And so tonight they're going to look at, the haters are going to look at the free throws and say, oh, he shot 16 free throws. They weren't watching the game. I saw a play specifically where James Wiseman just grabbed him before he got the ball. He was like, fuck it. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to grab him and send him to the free throw line. So that's just the free throw shooting is really a thing that makes him unstoppable. And, Giannis and these guys, they get the calls, but they can't shoot it that way. That's the main reason people hate how many free throws he shoots, because he makes them. If he couldn't make them, nobody would care.
Right.
He's the best shoot. He's the best shooting physical center in the history of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I did want to ask you, okay, because I know that a lot of people are going to be talking about this too, but Tyrese Maxey over the last couple of games, like he's hit a little bit of a wall, in my opinion, with shooting, with shooting the three especially. He goes 1 for 6 tonight from shooting from downtown. Did you expect this to happen at like this point of the season? Because I certainly did, because I knew that sometimes, like, especially with the way that his role has changed over the last year or so, you kind of just had the feeling that at some point of the season, and I thought that maybe during this stretch it would happen, and I'm kind of happy it's happening now, because when you're going up against, hopefully, like when you're going up against Minnesota, and even when you're playing against Chicago, which is when they play on Monday, if I believe, hopefully he can try to snap out of that funk. But but did you expect this?
Yeah, well, I think he had a little bit of stretch in the beginning of the season. After that, like 8-1 start or whatever, I think there was 2 or 3 games, or right after that 50-point game, I think he had a bad shooting night. I mean, highs and lows, ups and downs. I don't really care too much about it, to be honest. He'll come out of it. He's now he was 0 for 5 last night from 3. Or 2 nights ago, he's 1 for 6 tonight. So that's 1 for 11 in the past couple of games. But I like the fact that he keeps shooting, number one, and when the three's not falling, he then, tries to do other things and tries to involve himself other ways. And he had a couple takes to the basket tonight, a couple nice finishes. So I feel like he had a lot of fast break points. I feel like he had a lot of runs out in transition. Beginning of the game, like one of the first 2 or 3 plays of the game, he beat everyone down the court in transition. It helps that the Detroit Pistons were throwing the ball to the other team the whole night. They have so many guys that jump in the air with nowhere to go and they just throw it away. Something of Monty Williams, man, it doesn't look like anybody's coaching that team at all. But yeah, Maxey had some transition buckets.
What did you say? Detroit is the place where all like players like go to die.
People's careers go to die. Yeah. People's careers go to die, man. And Monty Williams over there with the COVID mask on, I think he still thinks it's 2020. I don't know if Monty Williams is even here mentally right now. I don't know what's going on. But Maxey's 1 for 11 shooting threes the past couple of games. Not worried about it. I love how he affects the game in other ways. I think 2 games ago he had 9 assists still with how bad he was shooting. And tonight he had some drives to the basket and some tough finishes. And yeah, I liked it, man. I don't care that he's not shooting. He'll come out of it. It'll start to fall again. And if it falls, like, if it falls and he shoots 2 for 5 the other day and maybe 3 for 6 tonight, he's back up to his scoring average. So the fact that he had 19 points and he couldn't hit a three, is cool with me. I know we got what else stood out to me in this game? Kelly Oubre Jr. had the first poster dunk of his Sixers career. I was happy about that. He drove baseline. He drove baseline and postered I think James Wiseman early on in the first quarter. It wasn't they didn't freak out as much as I did. They didn't show me the replay. They just brushed it off like nothing happened. I got to find that play and put it all over Instagram and everywhere. And then he caught an alley-oop like a little while later, next quarter or something from Maxey. Didn't even look close, and he tried to throw it down and got fouled. And I'm just it's so nice to have a guy like Kelly Oubre, man. It's so nice to have him, that length and that athleticism and just that dog mentality. He loves contact. He wants to dunk on people. He just wants the confrontation at the rim. It's been so long since I feel like there's been a Sixers player that just drives in and wants confrontation. I love that.
I'm totally with you on that too. Actually, like when you were talking, I was thinking to myself, the one thing I was really thinking about like during this game was when Maxey did have that little alley-oop pass. I know that part of it is because like they never really had the wings before to like actually do it because they never really had the athleticism. But how many times have we really seen like a Sixers point guard actually throw alley-oop passes? Like Ben Simmons never really did it. And it's just it was actually kind of interesting to me because like I'm watching and I'm thinking like, man, like I'm thinking about like Chris Paul and like some of these other like point guards that are out there that you just see them do it like all the time. We haven't really had that in the city for a little bit of time, and that was kind of nice to see. I was thinking about that because that was something that kind of stood out to me because I was like, shoot, like I haven't really seen that from the Sixers in a little bit. Like even James Harden didn't really do that. So
yeah, he didn't. Well, yeah, it has a. I don't think there's been a player that you could throw alley oops to. Once in a while, someone
that's the
who,
other thing too.
once in a while, someone who either just got here, hasn't played for the team for very long, tries to throw one to like Tobias Harris or something, and we're like, no, that's not gonna work. He's probably not that. But Kelly Oubre is like the first guy maybe that can catch an alley oop on this team for a long time. Maxey had another nice pass where he was under the rim and like got kind of double teamed under the basket, nowhere to go, and made like a crazy skip pass all the way to the corner to I think Batum.
It was Batum. It was he was on the near corner and he just Batum's trigger is just so quick. Like I love it. Like just quick decisions, like just pick and pop, shoot three. It's
great.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah, Batum's great to have, man. Go ahead.
I was going to say something else that I want to say, like that also kind of stood out to me was we talked about Morris Sr. and that was nice, but I thought that overall, like it was nice to actually see like the bench just go out there for the fourth quarter and just, try to put this game away. I thought that this was a good game for them to do that. The one thing that Nick Nurse has said, like since the very beginning of his time, is that he wants to try to work up everybody's trade value. And I thought that tonight he honestly did a good job at that, even with guys like Mo Bamba. I know that Mo's probably like not going to get traded because Mo's like not getting a lot of minutes and stuff like that. But like it's just like when he's out there, I feel like that he really is trying to put these guys in a position to succeed and trying to really get them all bought in. And tonight they were just locked in again. Like I think about the Doc Rivers lineups and I think about just like the mentality of it. There was a point like that you brought up last year, like during the playoffs when the Sixers were just getting out rebounded and you questioned Doc, like if he was actually going over rebounding drills. And you had every right to question that because, sometimes like even like when I was like doing stuff for like the Blue Coats, like I would question like those same types of things. And it was just always interesting to me because I feel like this season, everybody is clicking out there. And even tonight was just a game where, okay, Maxey didn't have the best shooting night. Some guys were off, but they still played like that they were a unit. And they still played very physical, very dominant basketball. And that's pretty much been the theme over these last 5 games or so that I've been witnessing with my 2 eyes. So
Yeah, well, dude, I used to get so annoyed when I would be ranting about the coach, and sometimes people would say it's not the coach's fault, the players got to play, and these are professional players and they got to play, and I'm like, you think you can give 24-year-olds $100 million
Right.
and they're just going to randomly be motivated? No, everybody still needs a coach. Like bodybuilders still go in the gym with a coach to push
Yes.
them on every rep to get the absolute best out of them. Everybody still needs to be pushed. So yeah, Doc wasn't doing anything. George Niang and JJ Redick were laughing about how easy his practices were. It was totally
Yep.
obvious what was going on. And
Yep.
Nurse definitely has these guys. He takes conditioning seriously. He definitely takes defense seriously, and he takes
Yep.
rebounding seriously. There was a lineup, speaking of depth, man, there was a lineup out there in, I think, the first half. Where am I at? Yeah, I'm in the second quarter. There was a lineup of Maxey, Oubre, Covington, Batum, and Morris. There was a lineup of
Yes.
Tyrese Maxey and 4 just plug and play wings on the floor. And it was like, I don't think the Sixers have had 4 of those guys on the same team for such a long time. We haven't had 2 of them on the same team for such a long time. And now you have Morris, Batum, Covington, and Oubre that can all play minutes, that can all fit in lineups pretty much wherever you put them. And it's wild how much depth this team has right now because of that James Harden trade, and they're all
Yep.
healthy. When the sickness happened and Oubre with the bike accident or the car accident, whatever it was, we didn't look deep. But I was like, when we get all our guys back, Batum was dealing with a family issue. I was like, when we get all our guys back, well, look how deep this team is, man. And now you just have so many options at those positions. And it's wild, man. And Morris is the one. I think that when the James Harden trade happened, I was going through all the players, and I was like, did we get any players that are any good, that have anything left? And Morris was the one that I wasn't sure about. You know, he's 34 years
Right.
old. And his first couple of, I think Nick Nurse was experimenting, and his first couple of games that he played for us, the one where he started at center against the Pelicans, and the Zion had like 70
That
points
was
in the paint.
terrible.
I was like, dude, Morris can't guard anybody. But what Nick Nurse, I think, is doing right now is taking his offensive skill set and just trying to put him in lineups with defenders on the floor and not let him out there on an island because he doesn't really move that well defensively. But his offensive game is looking like he's got a lot left in the tank, man. And tonight he was 5 for 5 from 3-point range. I think that was all of his points. He had 15 points.
That was it.
5 for 5 from 3. And it's like, yeah, and you were saying he's raising his trade value. I don't know if he has trade value because of his age. I think he's on an expiring contract too. I guess that's valuable. I don't know if anyone's like, yeah, we need Marcus Morris on our team, but just the fact that he can give you value if he's on your team at this age is nice.
Right.
And yeah, I'd like to keep him, man. Honestly, I'd like to keep him. He's from Philly, and it seems like he came back to his hometown, and he's like revitalized for the last couple years of his career. If he keeps shooting like this, I like it.
My only rebuttal against it is that, like, we know that in the playoffs that these lineups are going to shrink 9-man rotations, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, if you were to go to like an 8-9-man rotation now, like, who would you leave out? Morris Sr. is probably not going to make like the 9-man rotation, and I would probably give like Patrick Beverly, Paul Reed, and some of the other guys, and of course like the Nick Batums and the Kelly Oubre Juniors and the Robert Covingtons, like right there, like those are 4 guys. Like one of
Let's
them
see, out of the starting 5. So starting 5, Melton, Maxey, Embiid, Harris, Batum. Then you're saying 9. So 4 players off the bench. Paul Reed, backup center.
correct.
Covington, Oubre Jr.
and Beverly.
And Pat Bev, because he's legitimately the only other point guard on the team
Right.
behind Tyrese Maxey. Well, the thing about Covington is I like Covington probably for his defensive impact and his 3-and-D ability more than Morris, but I think Nick Nurse likes Morris more than he likes Covington. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's interesting, really, who would be part of the 9-man rotation in the playoffs. But you might be right. You know what I mean? You might be right about that.
Yeah.
All right, let's do nightly awards, man. Run it back, Philly. Sixers post game live. Nightly awards. I'm pretty sure we're both going to have the same player of the game. Joel Embiid, 35 and 13 in 3 quarters. Made the Detroit Pistons look like my niece's junior varsity women's basketball team. Shout out to Ava. Hi, Ava. Joel made the Pistons look like your basketball team out there tonight, and that's what happened. Joel Embiid's the player of the game. It is what it is. What can you do? And he's going to do it again against the Hornets. It's a nightly thing now. But that's the thing. We're not playing down to competition. You're not getting these games where he's out there looking like he's not giving effort. He's going out there and trying to put these teams away as fast as possible. Let me play hard for 2.5 quarters, and then I'll go sit down.
Just got to clock out. That's it.
Clock in, clock out.
Yep. That's literally it. I was actually going to say that Marcus Morris Sr. was my player of the game because obviously like Joel Embiid is like doing it all like in the first 2.5 quarters. But I wanted to give Marcus Morris Sr. his flowers because, again, shooting off the dribble. He also, like, there was a shot that the shot clock was expiring, and he was, like, from 30 feet outside. Like, he did it off the dribble, hand in his face. I was like, man, like.
Yeah, I think that was his fourth three. And we were like, what is this guy can't miss right now?
Right. This guy's turning into Steph Curry. Like.
Yeah, pump fake with the shot clock winding down and, like, steps through and hits one at the shot clock buzzer. That was crazy. And, he's not going to go 5 for 5 every night, but if he still has, that much left in the tank as far as a shooter, I like it. I like it a lot. I had Marcus Morris as my game changer. I got the second award is the game changer, and his 15 points off the bench were huge. His catch and shoot, his 5 threes, it was all big. And really with Maxey struggling from 3, honestly, the whole team struggled from 3. Tobias was 1 for 3. We shot 37%, but the first half it was really bad. It was like 20-something. So I had Marcus Morris as my game changer because really he's the only player that was shooting good from 3. Kelly Oubre was 1 for 5. Who else was bad from 3? Batum 0 for 1. Melton was 0 for 3. So I had Morris as my game changer.
Yeah, I also had him as my game changer too. I had
player of the game and the game changer.
And the game changer.
Man, you really liked him tonight. You gave him 2 awards.
I did. I had to. Like, who else would I have said for a game changer? I mean, I guess Joel Embiid, I could have said that too, but
yeah, absolutely.
It could have went either way, but I would say that he was both. I thought Kelly Oubre Jr. had like a very quiet 11 points tonight. I didn't really think that he did like anything too flashy. There were a couple of there was that 1 3 that he hit that was really nice. He went 4 for 11 from the field. But no, I would say that Marcus Morris Sr. would have been my game changer too.
I love it, man. The last award that I'm doing on the nightly award show is the fraud of the night. And last time I gave it to the entire Detroit Pistons team. This time I'm just going to give it straight up to Cade Cunningham. Number 1 overall pick in 2021. And man, this guy stinks. This guy stinks, man. If I was a Detroit Pistons fan, I would be so irate right now at how much Cade Cunningham stinks. He was 2 for 9 from the field for 4 points for 4 points and was a minus 32 with 3 turnovers. I mean, Cade Cunningham, you're rebuilding. You draft this guy number 1 overall in 2021. And 2 years later, he's giving you 2 for 9 for 4 points when, like, who else is on the team that he's even deferring to? He's supposed to at least look like the future leader of the team. He's supposed to look like a guy that's at least putting up some points on a bad team, not expecting many wins, but 2 for 9, 4 points from Cade Cunningham is terrible. And Bogdanovich was 6 for 12, 17 points in his Sixers audition. As they were saying in the playback chat, because at the trade deadline, players like Bogdanovich would be very nice to add to your roster. But yeah, my fraud of the night's Cade Cunningham. If I was a Detroit Pistons fan, I would be so mad at this guy right now.
My fraud was actually going to be Isaiah Stewart because, like, man, like this guy, I feel like he gets ejected like almost every game and just like talks trash and like literally like only had 5 points tonight and like got outplayed by James Wiseman. Like, literally. Guy that's playing 20 minutes and like just coming off the bench and like just I thought that Isaiah Stewart was like a really big fraud tonight. Like over the last 2 games against the Sixers, he's literally averaged 4 points.
Yeah.
And 4 rebounds. Like,
But that's the thing
it's
about
just,
Isaiah Stewart. You would want him to at least be a rebounder, like
right.
4 rebounds, dude. And yeah. Well, he didn't get ejected. He stayed in the whole game.
He
But
did. I have to give him credit for that.
he did have one play where he went for a loose ball and threw an off arm, I think, to DeAnthony Melton, and they reviewed it for a flag. I was like, this guy's about to get ejected again, isn't he? Yeah, but Isaiah Stewart is like, he's that high school football player that decides to play basketball with his friends on a Saturday morning. You know what I mean? And he's just out there, no real skill. He's just like shouldering people, knocking people out of bounds. Then he'll be like, well, how is that a foul? You ran into me, because he doesn't really understand the game. And you're like, dude, you leveled me out of bounds. This isn't football. That's Isaiah Stewart to me. He looks like a football player or kind of a boxer. He gives me Lennox Lewis vibes. And he always,
I agree with that.
And he can't control himself. He gets pissed off and he starts talking shit and stuff. It's entertaining to me. I think it's funny. Anytime you get to play Isaiah Stewart, I'm like, yeah, we get to play that guy. There might be a fight. But the fact that he's even a starting center on an NBA team is really, I don't really know what the Detroit Pistons are doing. They should probably start Cade Cunningham at this point, because Isaiah Stewart's horrible. He's really bad.
Bro, I would like to see.
Did he look good in college? Who did he play for in college? I don't remember seeing him in college, so I don't know who he played for. But I don't know. He had a play. I mean, he missed a wide open layup tonight, like right in front of the rim, wide open. Nobody around him. Nobody near him. He missed it.
Yeah. He played for Oklahoma State. That's who he played for.
Yeah. Isaiah Stewart's terrible. So that's your fraud of the night.
That's my fraud of the night. I would love to see Isaiah Stewart and like Draymond Green in like a boxing rink.
That would be that's what the NBA should do. They should make both of them fight to be able to play in the NBA. They should make Draymond. That's one of your steps to coming back, is you got to fight Isaiah Stewart in a cage match, in a UFC fight. Yeah. What else we got? Let me look at the stat sheet here, man. Tobias Harris. Do we have any takes on Tobias Harris tonight? He had 13 points. 7 rebounds is nice from Tobias Harris. He had a block in the first quarter. Anytime you get a block from Tobias Harris, I'm like, the effort is off the charts here. 7 rebounds is nice for Tobias Harris in the minutes that he played. I'm not seeing the minutes here. I got to scroll over. He played 23 minutes. 13 points and 7 rebounds. I can't slander Tobias Harris tonight. It's still like, it's not like he did anything impressive. That's the thing about Tobias. I guess that still is slandering Tobias Harris. He's just a guy. He's just a guy. He's a $40 million random player. That's the wild thing about it. I'm not saying he shouldn't have signed the contract, but expectations come along with signing that contract. And you haven't even come close to living up to those expectations. And with the depth on this team, Covington, Morris, Batum, Oubre, Tobias Harris is becoming more and more unnecessary. That's really where I'm at with it. He's becoming more and more expandable. Like, you don't really, does he need to be there? That's what I'm saying with Tobias Harris. Do you need him?
No, you really don't. I also thought tonight that DeAnthony Melton had an off night too. He went like 1 for 6 from 3. He's gonna have games like where he's shooting the ball like really, really well, and like he'll give you like that little spark. I know that somebody brought this up the other day, that on a championship type of a team, he shouldn't be like your starting shooting guard. But I think that is probably like gonna have to happen, because like I see them getting more of like a backup point guard and addressing like the power forward need more than that. But I didn't think that Melton had the best game. He got into a lot of foul trouble too. That was the other thing about it. But stats don't lie, but they also don't tell the full truth either. Like, they can say that he's plus 26 or plus 30 out there, but I thought that just from the eye test, he didn't really shine tonight. But
again, that's the thing about the plus minus stat, right? That's the thing about the plus minus stat, is that people are going to be like, well, why are you talking shit? He was a plus 24. I'm like, yeah, because he was on the floor with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Nicholas Batum, everybody else that was demolishing the Pistons. You could stand out there and do absolutely nothing and you'd be a plus 28. You know what I mean? That's, D-Melt is, he's a bench player to me, man. He's a nice bench player to have, but he's just that. And I don't know what they're going to do at the trade deadline. Daryl Morey said he's going to be aggressive. He's going to try to use the assets that they have to add another player. He said in his own words to add a player that we feel like is at least our third or fourth best player. So he's looking for somebody significant that can be a starter.
Correct.
I don't know who that is. But yeah, in a perfect world, you want the Anthony Melton coming off the bench because he's a bench player. He's inconsistent. That's what they said about him in Memphis. They were like, yeah, wait till he has a game where he's 1 for 6. And I'm like, he's a bench player. I expect him to have those games. That's what bench players are. They're inconsistent. But, I've always loved his hustle. I love his defensive effort. But yeah, in the starting lineup, I think that's the one glaring thing. That and the unnecessity of Tobias Harris. But
Right.
I don't know if that's a word. Unnecessity, lack of necessity,
Unnecessarily. Yeah.
I don't know.
Something like that.
But yeah, that's the one thing that but I don't know who it's going to be. The Zach LaVine contract is crazy. I don't know. We'll see, man. Daryl's going to be on the phone trying all kinds of different things. Davon, aka Schoolboy Beats, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the support. That corner pass to Morris from Maxey in traffic. Yeah, I was talking about that a little bit earlier. That was such a nice pass. The fact that Maxey can be down there, kind of smothered under the rim, and have just the awareness as a point guard to be able to make that pass. It was really that play is a play that isn't going to be talked about enough. Just for his being able to read the floor, because it's the one thing that everyone said that he wasn't is a facilitating point guard. I said it a lot for the past 3 years. I was like, he's a scorer. He's a 2 guard. Get him an Eric Snow. Get him a guy that can, and this year he's added a lot of things. This offseason, he's added a lot of things as far as being able to read the floor in every situation too, not just at the top of the key running pick and rolls. When he's under the rim like that and he still has the awareness to get the ball all the way around to the corner, is like, wow, he's really making a leap as a facilitator. But I do like what Nick Nurse does too, where he puts him and Pat Bev on the floor together too, because you can run him at the 1 and the 2. That's the nice thing about him. You can run him as a point guard with Joel, 2-man game. It's almost unstoppable. And then you can bring a point guard out there and run Maxey off of 2 or 3 screens, and he's already faster than everyone. Now you're doing a little Allen Iverson with him, bringing him off of screens, getting him downhill. There's so many ways you can go, and Nick Nurse is being very creative with it, and I like it. But that's another reason that I would like I love Pat Bev. I love his attitude. I love what he brings to the team. But realistically, a better, bigger, better defensive, like floor general type of point guard, like a Malcolm Brogdon or somebody like that, I think would be perfect too.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. There was I expected, man, like coming into this season, and I think that we all did, and we don't really talk about this too much, like especially now, like we're taking it for granted, in my opinion. But you expected that, like when Nick Nurse was talking about having Tyrese Maxey become like the starting point guard, you just thought that Tyrese was just gonna like nonchalantly turn the ball over a lot more than he has been, and yet he still is like only averaging like I see 0 turnovers. I see like only 1 turnover a game. Like the turnovers are still so low, and yet his usage rate is going so up, and it's just skyrocketing. And I don't think that really gets enough. That doesn't really get talked about, Like, yeah, like his defense has gotten better overall, like as a point guard, I would say, but just his overall like ball handling skills, I think, have just been so awesome, and the fact that he's now more of the floor general out there on the court, and he's trying to set up plays and do more pick and rolls and stuff, you would just think that he would naturally turn the ball over more, and he's not. Like that's really impressive.
It is really impressive. There was a stat a couple games ago where he had the most 25, 5, and 0 games in the NBA, 25 points, 5 assists, and 0 turnovers. And I'm pretty sure his assist to turnover ratio is top of the NBA with Tyrese Halliburton, who's his assist to turnover ratio is insane, especially with how much he's scoring also for the Indiana Pacers. But yeah, Tyrese his ball security is so impressive. It's because he's a smart dude, man. He's not very instinctual. He doesn't do dumb things. Everything he does is thought out a lot. I think it's actually the other way around. He has to learn to kind of think less because he overthinks a lot of things. Correct. when he has those like segment of games where he's kind of passive in the first half and you see him like passing up wide, like he's thinking too much. But that's why he doesn't turn the ball over, because he's very thoughtful, man. And he's a smart dude. And I love it.
but I also think that Doc Rivers kind of trained him or like wired him in a certain way, like where you have to give the ball to Harden, you have to give the ball to Embiid, and then just like like if you're wide open, like take the three, of course, but like you're not. We don't need you to be isoing that much. Like we don't really need you to
Mm-hmm.
to be like more of that scorer. We need you to just like catch and shoot more. And I think that in some ways that his body still in some ways is trained like that, and Nick Nurse is trying to rewire his brain. And that's
Yeah, I mean, let's call it what it is. Doc Rivers is a fucking moron, dude. Doc Rivers
he's a fraud.
He's an idiot. I don't care what anybody says. Former NBA player gets
Yep.
gets a chance to be a coach, gets 4
Yep.
Hall of Famers on his Boston Celtics team. And he's just been so overrated. And when he came here, he was 1 foot out the door of retirement, and he hurt the roster and the team and everybody more than he helped. And I resent him for a lot of things, but yeah, what you just bringing that up when he was telling Tyrese Maxey, he said it. It was on an NBA TV live practice before the season, and he said any shot that you take is a shot that Joel could have, is a shot that Tobias could have, and I was like, why would a coach be telling a young player that? That's the opposite of what you should be telling. I can't stand that guy. And add on top of that, his arrogance and his pompousness and the way that he talked to the media and the would you ask Pop that question. And the entire city of Philadelphia hated that guy for good reason. Anyway, yeah. Tyrese should have been shooting the ball from his rookie season. But yeah, he had that guy telling him not to.
Yeah, I know. It is just crazy. But I'm proud of like how much he's turned around his game. I was actually thinking to myself, like, when I'm watching Tyrese Maxey out there, like, does he give you Allen Iverson vibes? Like when he's just isoing out there and like when he's just going into like the lane and trying to finish, like, does he give you Allen Iverson vibes from that perspective?
It gives me Allen Iverson vibes in the way that you can use him coming off of screens and his speed. And coming around the screen, getting the ball and already being ahead of your defender. And when the defenders, he can already blow by guys, but when the defender's playing catch up, then it's an automatic all the way to the rim. I wish if Tyrese Maxey had a little bit of an Allen Iverson crossover, he would be unstoppable. If he just had a face up hesitation left to right, he would be absolutely unstoppable. And that Iverson crossover is iconic. And it was lethal. And at the time when Iverson was doing it, I kind of thought it was going to become a thing in the NBA, but there's really not many guys that face up and do that left to right hesitation crossover like Iverson used to do. Derrick Rose had one for a while that was one of the really nasty stop and go crossover type of stuff. But Maxey's really quick, and I would love for him to just have a face up like bang bang crossover and make somebody fall over. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, you can use him. You can use him like Larry Brown used to use Iverson for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that you bring up a really good valid point with that. But no, just like in regards to like this game tonight, again, like this was it's so nice to just have games like where you can just sit back and like put your feet up like in the fourth quarter. Like you're watching Eagles games, especially like over like the last like 6 weeks or so, and every game is just coming down to the wire. Especially like when they're playing against these teams that are just like not even competitive or like not playing at like the same level as the Eagles. And so it's like, everything is just stress. And like with the way that this team is playing now, it's just so nice to just have a breath of fresh air. And hopefully tomorrow night. I don't know why the NBA. I feel like the NBA just hates the Sixers. Like I hate traveling back to backs. I really do, man. Like I cannot stand these traveling back to backs. Like you have to fly out to Charlotte. Like I remember that there was a back to back where they played an in-season tournament game against the Indiana Pacers, and then the next day they're on primetime and they play against the Boston Celtics. Like come on, bro. Like it's so annoying. But
a traveling back to back should never happen, especially if you're traveling through different time zones. And when we got our asses kicked by the Timberwolves, we went through 2 time zones. I don't know, maybe just one, but either way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you got jet lag. You're getting off a plane and you're trying to play a basketball game, and it's such a game that like if you're off by a half a second, your whole game is done. So yeah, we got killed by them.
Sitting on the plane and like you're not moving around,
Yeah.
like all those things, man. Like
Yeah, that
it's just
shouldn't happen. But at least it's the who is it tomorrow? The Charlotte Hornets? At least
yeah.
it's the Hornets. Dante, Kyrie is closest to AI. Yeah, I forgot about Kyrie, man. How could I forget about Kyrie, man? He's AI himself said Kyrie's the best ball handler of all time. And yeah, absolutely ridiculous talent. Ridiculous talent, Kyrie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You got anything else, man? Because honestly, I can't even believe we just talked about this game for 48 minutes because this game was over when it started. It was boring by the middle of the second quarter, and Joel sat down at the end of the third, and the deep bench came in at the. I didn't watch the last 3 minutes. That's how these games are going. When Mo Bamba and Jaden Springer and those guys are in there, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go set up for post game live. I'm not going to sit here and watch Furkan Korkmaz shoot the ball. See you guys later. So yeah, man, thanks for coming through. Do you got anything else, man?
I mean, like, of course, like you have to just throw in Furkan Korkmaz at the end. Like, you know, you have to put him in at the end, and like he just goes like 1 for 3 from three, still thinking that he's like the Turkish delight, as Kate Scott calls him. Like, man, still thinks that he should be traded, and like he wanted out last year. I still remember that
Yeah.
report.
He's
Still
got to
makes
be the
me
worst
laugh.
player to ever request a trade. I think he's the worst player to ever request a
Do
trade.
you remember like when Brett Brown was comparing him to like JJ Redick? Like,
I used to think so when he dropped 40 in a summer league game one time, and I compared him to
that was his first game.
who was the dude that played for the Kings back in the day, man? Big European 3-point shooter. Stojakovic. Peja Stojakovic, man. I compared him to
Yeah.
him when he was young and he dropped 40 in a summer league game. And yeah, he did not pan out to be Peja Stojakovic, but
No, it is crazy. He's been around, man, like since he's like the second longest tenured guy. I don't know how he's like survived like 3 coaches, but whatever.
Morris, Batum, Rocco Harris, probably one of them will be gone by the trade deadline. Who are you shipping and who are you keeping? MH, thanks for the question. My quite obvious answer to this question is the guy on a $40 million expiring contract, Tobias Harris, because when you look at Morris, Batum, Rocco, Harris, and Oubre, they're all on cheaper deals, and they can all do the same, if not more, for your lineup and fit better and everything than Tobias Harris does. To me, it's obvious. You don't, at this point, it doesn't look like you need the services of Tobias Harris. And you can get rid of that contract and bring somebody else in or a multiple players or something if a team is looking to clear cap space. Keith Pompey put out today that they're probably not going to trade Tobias Harris. They say this every year, and then they try to trade him. It's tough because a team wants to clear cap space, but do they want, I don't know. But out of those players, I would trade Tobias Harris just because of the contract. Because I think if he wasn't being paid that money and it wasn't on that contract, he wouldn't even be playing the minutes that he's playing right now anyway. He would just be a guy, and he might not even be on this team.
I have a different question for you. I was thinking about like today, like when the whole Daryl Morey news broke out and how like he got his contract extended all the way till the end of the 2027-28 season. How come Tyrese Maxey like hasn't received like that extension just yet? Like, do you know why?
Yeah, they said last year that was like an agreement between them because they wanted to be able to sign some guys this offseason, and if they would have signed Maxey to that extension last year, they wouldn't have had as much cap space, I think, this past offseason to try to sign the guys that they signed. They got Oubre Jr. on a veteran minimum, which I think they could have done either way. I think that was just an agreement between him and the team to keep some cap space for this offseason because you still had the big elephant in the room, the big $40 million number from Tobias Harris. Next year, Tobias is not going to be obviously paid that money by anybody. Tyrese is going to sign the extension. You're going to have Joel and Tyrese on maxes, and you're going to have space on the roster to maybe have another max contract player, maybe OG Anunoby gets a big payday. Maybe there's a Lauri Markkanen trade that everyone's talking about, even though if you're the Utah Jazz, you do everything to sign him to an extension. Bot Ricks. Hey, everyone interested in becoming a mod for this channel, reach out to play-by-play with JJ. That's a bot. Oh, that's a bot. Okay. I got you. Yeah, we are streaming live on both channels. I forgot about that. Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for joining me, JJ. Like I said, man, you do good stuff, bro. You know what you're talking about. I enjoy talking to you. And thank you. You keep thanking me for the opportunity. Thank you for helping me talk about this boring game.
Man, anytime. Seriously, anytime you need to, like, if you need me to hop on, like, I'm always happy to help out anybody on here. Seriously,
Yeah, plug your stuff, man. Tell the people what the channel is.
Yeah, so it's a play-by-play with JJ. I started this channel about a year ago, literally a year ago, which is crazy. But I call Sixers basketball games, Phillies baseball games. We did 127 of the 162 plus the 6 playoff games.
You call an entire baseball game?
Yep.
Oh my God, that's like 4 hours.
127 of the 162 plus the playoffs.
You're telling me on a Tuesday in the middle of the summer?
Oh yeah.
The first at bat.
Yep.
You're calling that shit. I tune into Phillies game. I tune into Phillies games in the 7th inning, basically, for most of the season.
Ugh, man. Like, I mean, it's tough, but like when you're doing play-by-play, like when you're like locked in the zone, you feel like you have a purpose. So like you're not really like you're focusing on it like as a fan, but like you're focusing more on it as like trying to get like a rhythm and just like being the conductor out there. And that's how my brain is wired. It's really, really weird.
But and Flyers games?
We do Flyers watch parties. I'm trying to still like learn about like how to call hockey. I didn't really get a lot of experience with it in college, so we're trying to like build up on that. And I figured, you know what, like let's just do some Flyers watch parties. I have been going to the Flyers skate zone though. It's like 5 minutes away from my house.
Nice.
And I've been seeing them practice, but no. So like we've been just doing play-by-plays for the Phillies, the Eagles, the Sixers, and we do Flyers watch parties too. And yeah, man. So, if you wanna follow, it's just play-by-play with JJ on YouTube. We're trying to get more active on social media as well, on TikTok, on any sort of social media platform except one that doesn't exist. But yes, so that's what we've been doing on here, man. And it's definitely been a grind, but like it's been a lot of fun, and I've been really, really enjoying this for sure.
Hell yeah, man! Keep doing your thing. Definitely keep doing your thing. The play-by-play thing can work. It can definitely bring in viewers. And as with anything in life, it's all about consistency, man. It's all about fighting through those times where it seems slow, where it seems like it's not going anywhere, where it's just all about consistency, man. Yeah, that's what it is, man. But yeah, thanks for coming through, buddy. I'll keep in touch. I appreciate you.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate